Hi, my name is Kevin Hamlin. I played in the Ontario Hockey League from 1978 to 82. The 1981-82 season, I played for the Windsor Spitfires.
Hi, I'm Michael Layton. I played for the Windsor Spitfires, 99, 2000, 2001.
Hi, I'm Ryan Jelinas, played with the Windsor Spitfires in the mid-90s.
Hi, I'm Matt Anthony, played for the Windsor Spitfires from the 01-02 season to the 03-04.
Spitfire Roundtable with our four former Spitfire goaltenders, and starting to my far left again, Matt Anthony. Matt, any one particular memory in a Spitfire uniform that stands out as one that you'll always remember?
Ooh, I would say there's probably two. One was just an absolute brawl that you would not see today. We were playing Guelph, and Guelph's goalie, I can't remember who he was standing on his head. And Cam Jansen took it upon himself to see what he could do about it. So he dumped the puck into the corner. Goalie goes out to the corner, goes to play it. Most guys now would curl away, and he just went full sprint, hit him shoulder down, blew him up, and took him out of the game. And there was a bit of a line brawl afterwards. So that's something that you would not see at all today, but that's something that stands out. And then I guess personally from a team perspective, my final year, we're in Plymouth. It was we had to win that game to make playoffs, and the Sioux had to lose their game. So we went into Plymouth, the team we struggled with all year. We won our game. Coaches came in after the room. There was no internet. Nobody could check scores or anything. And they said, hey, Sioux lost. So all the boys were just real excited that we made playoffs. Bittersweet. We played London and got swept, but we still made it. That was a big memory.
Right?
There was one time I remember I was like the third goalie at the time. I was a rookie, and it was Rock'em Sock'em Night. And it was the old VHS tapes. I remember at the time. Do you remember? You know what I'm getting at? And I think Kingston was in town. It was Brett Lindros. And I can't remember exactly, but it was something to do with a bad ref call. And all those VHS tapes, all 2,000 of the something, it was either Brett Lindros was, gesturing to the fans, or it was the referee call or something. But all I remember is 2,000 Rock'em Sock'em tapes being tossed.
I believe our marketing director, Steve Horn, after that decided we would give out the promotional material on the way out after the game.
I still remember that. Yeah, I was in my suit and tie sitting up above the goalie net when that small glass, which, by the way, you got to watch out in warm-ups, right? Because you're going to get one in warm-ups. But that was one of the memories. Now, specific playing memory that comes to mind right off the hop was actually just an exhibition game against the London Knights. DJ Smith and Ed Jovanovski were both in the lineup for an exhibition game against the London Knights in London. And my girlfriend at the time goes up with my dad and her dad, and I had already fought. And they just got there. They got a little late, and I was already up in the stands. They're like, hey, how's it going? And so, what are you doing? You're supposed to be playing. I'm like, I did play. So it was what was I going to say? It was against London, like I said, and Tom Kostopoulos, who ended up playing the NHL, ran me, and I don't know why. It was the first period. And Ed Jovanovski and DJ Smith were both on the ice at the same time. But, like, he was there. He ran me. And I just started throwing. And I just remember saying, hey, let me go, let me go, let me go. So I did. So, yeah, and that was the end of that, basically. And that was my fondest memories, I guess you could say. So.
Wait.
I think, like we talked about earlier when we played against Sarnia, Game 7 against my hometown, celebrating with my teammates after that, just very satisfying. Great series, and obviously we have to win, so it made it even more special for me. And then the Jeff Cool incident. Obviously, I was 17 years old, sitting on the bench, and see this 6'8", 250-pound monster jump the bench and just chasing guys off the ice. And it was just like, what is going on, right? And
I was broadcasting that game.
Yeah,
it was,
against the old sound attack.
Is this Sean Avery?
It was quite,
Yes.
chasing Sean Avery off the ice. Quite the
Chris
experience.
Chris Menard. Oh,
So then the next day, we go in for practice, and we're all watching the tape. We have the VHS tape in, and we're watching it over and over and over. We we're obviously thinking it's funny until Tom Webster comes in, or Tony Critelli walks in and says, "You're done. You can't never play in this league again." And we're all like, "What?" Kind of ended the funny part to it, but obviously just a crazy game and a big memory at the barn there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hammer?
Well, I mean, to be honest, Steve, I grew up in Windsor Arena, so when you from 9 years old right to the end, there's probably not, to be honest, not one that stands out. I will tell you that some of the memories that really come to mind is as a visiting player coming into the Windsor Arena, and I remember a series that we had with Brantford and the Spitfires, and we lost in the M's Division Final in Game 7. And Sean McKenzie and I kind of met each other at center ice at the end, and just kind of hugged each other. And strange enough, we talk about a goalies union. Well, I was visiting Greg Gravel, who was our captain in those days.
Real good player.
And we're in Halifax, and I went to his arena. He's a skill guy in Halifax. Went to his arena, and Sean McKenzie, who's the rink manager at this arena, had no idea. And I think I tweeted about it, and Steve talked to me about it later. But it just incredible, And 1 year I was in London. We played the Spitfires 27 times. It has to be a record. We played them 6 times in exhibition games, and then as it happened, we played them like an incredible amount during the regular season. Then we played them in playoffs, and somebody, Dean Hopkins, got a spearing penalty, and we beat the Spitfires out in Game 7 at the Gardens. Dean Hopkins got a spearing penalty. They didn't throw him out. They didn't eject him. Hoppy came back and scored the winning goal against the Spitfires.
They protested.
So they protested, and we had to replay the series. We had to replay not only that game, but Niagara Falls Flyers was waiting for the winner. So we played a round robin, and we ended up playing. It was 27 times. If you can imagine, like back in those days, those two teams playing 27 times, it was pretty unique. So those are the things to me that. And then the coaches along the way. I had some beauties here. Marcel Pronovo and Ron Carroll in Brantford, Dave Dryden in Peterborough, and of course Bill Long in London. I look back and I just love those guys. And to think all the coaches that we had over the years, and you're sitting here with other guys that aspire to be coaches and that are coaches. And probably one of the more interesting things was what influenced them into, what coach they, when I think back of all the coaches that I had, you kind of pick and pull what you don't like and what you like, and then you never deviate from who you are. I think the important thing is that you're you, and that's what makes you unique and all that stuff. But I probably for another time. But what a great. I would be interested to hear what these guys think about that, and what coach that they play for, do they see a little bit of in them?
Well, we got some right now, Matt.
Ooh, for coaches,
Any coach that kind of comes to mind that whether you're teaching now or coaching, you think here's a guy, whether it was a great motivator or a great X's and O's guys, whatever.
There were a ton. I mean. I obviously learned a ton from our Windsor coaches. Like we had Webby, Mike Kelly, Steve Smith. But probably my last three years of pro hockey, we had Steve Harrison, who he was an assistant and a co-coach in the Sioux, and he did a bunch of pro, and he just taught us so much about the game, about just enjoying the process. And that was the first kind of time that I realized that there is a process to the season, and I love learning from him, and he had the experience. And the funny thing is, he had coached at such higher levels that he was so hard on us, and he realized, hey, I'm being a bit too hard for the level. I've got to tone down a little bit. And he was learning at that same time, what it takes to actually coach guys at certain levels. That you can't just be hard on guys who don't respond to it, and you've got to actually feed off your players in that sort of way. And I mean, also the goalie coaches, like we had Price and Tim Baskin. Bass was Well, he was the first guy to taught me how to butterfly. I think I was 18 years old in the league before I put my first butterfly on the ice. So.
Right? Any coaches that?
Yeah, for me, I found Rick Cranker at the University of Windsor to be a phenomenal coach. And what happened was he ties in so many aspects, and he simplifies things. And he's such a down to earth people person, right? And we talk about like innovation, obviously with equipment, but also obviously with game strategy. And how times has changed and stuff. But I like to try to model myself as, somewhat, simplistic, where, you don't have to be, and we talked about this the other day, actually, in the dressing room about like, you don't have to run the fanciest practice to have the best team, right? Simplicity, a personable attitude, right? Just be, if the players are coachable and the coach is approachable, and you run, just a good ship and you're organized and everything, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I think that is, to me, the best in terms of philosophy and everything. You got to try some new things. You have to adapt. Don't get me wrong. But I found with, and I had great coaches, all coaches. I can't speak bad of any coaches in the history that I played. I mean, minor hockey, I had Kerry Best. He was an awesome guy. And, Spitfires had Paul Gillis, Mike Kelly. They were great. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of just like such a good people person and simple, like he wasn't fancy at all, but like everybody responded great to him, was Rick Cranker. And in terms of modeling, it's like, I hope to emulate that, right? So, I don't want to come in and coach at any level and try to like change everything crazy, right? I just want to see what's going on and adapt accordingly, right? With who I have, with what I can do, things like that. So I thought in my playing career, I thought Rick was the best for that of all the coaches I had.
I know one thing the current Spitfire coach, Mark Savard, always says, number one, he wants, when the kids come here tomorrow morning, practice, to have fun. It's hockey, it's fun. If it's like, the coach is behind me, he's going to, cut my shift short if I make a mistake, it's not fun. And I think that's the one thing that I know Savvy, Mark Savard, he wants it to be fun. It's hockey. This isn't, brain surgery or anything really that difficult. It's hockey, and Savvy always tries to preach. The door's open. Come in. Let's have fun here. We all have jobs to do, and that's number one, is to have fun. And I think I'm sure you guys would agree, if everyone's kind of loose, having fun, you got a job to do, you're going to like to get to the rink and play and perform for that coach and for that organization.
Michael, do you have a coach?
Well, I played for, I think, 21 different teams in 18 years professional hockey, and then 3 years as Spitfires. So, it'd probably be an insult for me to pick out certain ones, but, Peter Laviolette, Paul Maurice, to me, were very good motivators, like you said, right? Very good talkers, and got the team going all the time. And then go back to what Hammer said about, you kind of pick things from each coach and try to model yourself into the best coach you can possibly be, right? Tom Webster was a big influence on me coming in. We had Tony Curtelli my first year. When Tom came, it was a different story. A totally different organization. Curfews were set, rules were set, and he kind of taught me how to be a pro leading into professional hockey, and that was big for me. Goalie coaches, again, I had so many different goalie coaches that were amazing for me. Stefan Waite, Jeff Reese, Rick Pracey. So again, you take all these little things that you learn from all these guys, and for me, I think the main thing I really learned was to be kind to these kids and be treated like you'd want to be treated. You don't want a kid look at you and not like you, and you want everyone to like you and respect what you're saying and be respectful to you and just build a good relationship, because goalies are different. Am I allowed to say that? But there's only two on a team, right? So sometimes the goalies are over here and the players are here. So if you're with them, you got to make sure that they like you and build a good relationship with them, and that's really big. moving forward.
Thanks
Well,
again.
Sorry, Beller, to dovetail what Lace just said, and it's true. Like, the kids, they don't care what you know until they know you care. And I don't care if it was an error back when I played or today. That holds true. They don't care if you play in the NHL. They don't care about that. They want to know, do you care about me? And then let's move forward with a relationship. And arguably, I know I'm getting long-winded here, but one of the finest coaches that I've ever played for, had exposure to, was not even a hockey coach. It was Mito Martinello. And Mito coached me with the Turbos and with the Windsor Warlocks. And, in terms of the best coach, the hockey coach, I don't know, maybe Mike Keenan, who knew how to instill a vision. When Mike recruited me to the University of Toronto, it wasn't 2 minutes into the conversation, he said, "Do you want to win a national championship?" He planted the seed. And I said, "Well, who doesn't want to win a national championship?" I ended up committing to the University of Toronto. That year we won a national championship. So he knew about that. There was a lot of other things that people didn't like about Mike, and that's fair enough. The guy we had after Mike, Mike coached us for 1 year at U of T, then he went to Philly, was Tom Watt. And Tom was so different than Mike. He was the guy that you knew he cared. You knew he cared. He wasn't an authoritative type like Mike, but I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed hearing their stories because it is true. I mean, everybody that coaches today had people that influenced them, whether it be a teacher, a gym teacher, a history teacher, a coach, whatever. And it's interesting to know who inspired them to go on and do the things that they're doing.
Well, I know the hockey fans here in Windsor really love hearing your stories. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in. Spitfire Goaltender Appreciation Week. Matty Anthony, Ryan Jelinas, Michael Layton, Kevin Hamlin, and my radio broadcast partner, of course, one of the good guys in the game, Manny Paiva. Thanks again, and thanks again for tuning in, and look for another round table sometime soon.